SRT and we're here at Daytona, Florida, right on the beach at a great hotel.
Wait a minute, that's not how it happened. First things first, we went to LAX, and there we got on the SRT jet, and we flew from LAX to Orlando International Airport. Then we hopped in the SRT Chevy HHR and drove out at Orlando. Then we got horribly lost, drove around in circles, and eventually found our way to our hotel. Had a good night's sleep, and then our trip really began.
I'm Shaun with SRT, and we're here at Daytona, Florida, right on the beach at a great hotel. We're here with the Sim Factory for the ARCA Daytona 200.
Dude, we're at Daytona!
All we had to do now is go by the credential building, pick up our credentials, and into the track we would be.
Alright, we got our credentials now. Rolling up on Bill France Boulevard.
There's the truck of Bob Coulter, who just got us into the credentials.
And just got a ticket. All the homies are in the truck.
Oh, he's got the whole crew in there.
Yep, Nick, Mike, Mark, the whole gang.
Those be the Sim Factory guys. So here we are, about to pull under the tunnel of one of the most famous racetracks in all the world. I'm looking up and seeing the banner of the recently run Rolex 24. So here we are on the infield of the holy grail of American motorsports, looking out at the grandstands that I'd only seen on TV. Looking at them now, they're gigantic and bigger than life. Continuing along and not even paying attention.
Ran into Greg just now. Wouldn't have been running the 500.
Greg Biffle in the go-kart, we almost rolled his ass over. So now, paying a little more attention, we continue snaking our way into the infield, until finally there we are, sitting on turn 2 of the infield road course. So after taking in the sights, it was time to get inside of the garages. And we didn't have to go far, because only a handful of trailers down from the ARCA Series trailer were the Sim Factory guys. And with the Sim Factory, there's usually a pretty big crowd. But here you get a good shot of Nick Steelman, also known as Chops. He's one of the executive producers of the Sim Factory. We also got to meet a few guys that we've been racing with online, like Justin JT Thomas, and Nick Neiman, who goes by the nickname Neebs, or Chad Zimmerman of DMP. We'll get you better shots of Chad and Neebs later. Another guy we gotta point out is Mike Rohr, producer of the Sim Factory. And standing next to him, Ricky Sanders, another one of the producers. And the guy standing next to me right there is Mark Carter, another producer from the Sim Factory. The other great thing about hanging out at the Sim Factory trailer is the amount of drivers, crew chiefs, and mechanics who constantly come up and want to try out the Sim. If you just stood there long enough, you'd see just about everybody from the ARCA series come on by for a try. And you just gotta love the Sim pods that they brought along from Environ. These babies are totally set up for oval racing, and they feel great. Believe it or not, that's a G25 controlling that unit right there. And someone else we'd worked with and were looking forward to meeting was Ian Bushing of Pro Sim Racing. So now we're finally getting to put some of the names and faces together on our trip. And that includes Bob Hollywood Coulter, executive producer of the Sim Factory. Walking here with Bob is Scott DeBoer, aka Tool. So we're going to take a small break, and when we return, we'll continue with Daytona Road Trip Part 1.
Some 3 wide for sure, and it almost looked like they were trying to make it 4 back there.
And on this trip, we would never have time to just sit and relax. At this point, Bob Coulter grabbed us and started walking us through the garages. He would introduce us to drivers, crew chiefs, mechanics, race officials. Everybody on the series seemed to know Bob, and he would introduce us to everybody we walked past. We really were on the inside of the ARCA series and watching these teams prepare as they got ready for final practice before qualifying the next day. Looking at the drivers' faces, you could tell their nerves were adding up as they got ready for the high speeds of Daytona once again. And as much fun as we are having doing that, time is short when you're at a racetrack, and we immediately piled into the golf cart to take a little ride. I don't know if you remember that picture of the golf cart when we were talking to Ian, but it was a real badass ride. What we didn't know is they were taking us right into the Daytona Motor Speedway headquarters. In there we would meet the vice president of the Speedway and hang out in his office for a while. Then we got a private tour of Daytona, USA, where we got a chance to see all their exhibits as well as having a head-to-head shootout on the dated but fun Acceleration Alley. We made it back to the track just in time for final practice. But for now, we're cherishing the moment. We're so close to the action that we could smell the fuel and the burning rubber. You could feel the vibration of the cars as much as you could hear them. And here's what they sound like up close and personal. So our first real day at the track was starting to wind down. We had a fantastic time, and this was really just our first day at the track. Well, one thing I noticed as the day went on is that our group kept growing bigger and bigger, and at this point, with things coming to a close, we all decided we'd go across the street from the track and hang out at the local Hooters. And we all hung out telling stories, hanging out with the Hooter girls, and basically were there until they closed the place down and threw us out of there. And that concludes the end of day 1 and 2. Be sure to tune in for part 2 of our Daytona road trip, where Darin and I have a special privilege, as well as the entire group nearly losing their lives. Coming soon on SRT.